I'm doing another sponsored request today. This is a really random thing for me because I don't even know what this is. Matt Mays, Tall Trees Live from Burnside with Love. I don't know who Matt Mays is. I don't know what this album is. I don't know anything. So this is just going to be blind reaction. Let's go. Okay, that was really nice. So I had to look them up while that was going on because my first thought was like, oh, this is like bluegrassy. But then this is Canadian. So Canadian things are just completely different. I find Canada so interesting because it's so similar to the United States, but like a little bit off. It's like there's always something like slightly not. Like you always know someone's from Canada because they're like a little bit culturally different, but they're almost the same. And then you're like, huh? Because according to Canadian standards, they consider this that he's an indie rock singer, I would have just been like, this is bluegrass. And they're like, no, he was in an indie band, the Guthries. And then they're like, the Guthries were Canadian country rock. I'm like, country rock? That's not like American country rock. Country rock would be not this. This is more bluegrassy. We'd call that bluegrass in the United States. And if I call bluegrass country, people get upset. Even though I do believe bluegrass is under country, like if there was a big banner called country, and then underneath it you have the offshoots of like pop country, rock country, bluegrass, Americana, whatever. You could go offshoots from there in its own little tree. And then country rock and country pop slightly overlap with rock or pop, right? In like a Venn diagram. But I would never call this indie, because when we think indie in the United States, we think of like very independent, indie rock, indie pop, kind of like there's a vibe to it. This is just so bluegrassy, it's hard to say that. I thought the singing was great. I liked that there was a banjo. There was even like a sax or something in that. And there was the keyboard came in at the end. They all sang. It was very nice and collaborative. Everybody looked happy. It was good vibes. So I think what happened here is I have now Canadians watching my channel. Hello, welcome Canadians. The land of the silver birch. That's my one Canadian thing I like. Well, there's two things. One is that like Come From Away musical took place in Newfoundland. And then land of the silver birch, home of the beaver, where da 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 da, bluegrass da 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 da, da 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 da. And my other thing that I like about Canada is Schitt's Creek. That was like one of the best shows of all time. Seriously, probably the best thing Canada's ever produced was Schitt's Creek. Then you guys have Alanis Morissette and one of those Ryan guys. But yes, so Canada has a few people that I very much like. But yeah, Canadian stuff is like slightly like you can't really, it has such a different origin than like the US history. It's like similar but divergent, different cultural things going on there too, different society, different culture, just it's like similar but different. So we don't even have the same experiences. But the music's great. It does sound very different than our, quote, bluegrass or our country rock indie stuff. I think it sounds very different. Feels like they're staring me down. But I like all the harmony. They kind of sing in our country accent, though. Doesn't sound like anyone in Canada, like no one in Canada speaks like that to me, though I'm thinking more of like the Ontario accent, right? Maybe out in the West, maybe where Calgary is and stuff like that. Maybe there's more of this like Western accent. Yeah, I liked this whole breakdown with the keyboard. I thought it was awesome. So cool. I love it. I got the Canadians here making the requests. So thank you so much for doing that. And remember, if you guys want to send a request, just go to my Linktree request form. Send it in so it gets on my spreadsheet so that I can cross it off. Here we go. I'm going to sneeze. That's because I'm getting over my sickness. But I still have to stay on my recording schedule. So, look, I make it green. And now I'm so getting through my paid requests. And now there's not that many things that are white. So keep the requests coming in because soon I'll be caught up. I have some more warning stuff coming. I have King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I have some oldie stuff. I have more Steely Dan. Something called 50/50. Rolling Stones. Okay, some interesting stuff. All sorts of good stuff. So I'm excited. There's going to be lots of stuff coming up. So I have a very eclectic channel. Let's keep it that way. So send in your eclectic requests. It could be anything. It doesn't even have to be music. I'll react to movies, TV shows, memes. Erica reacts to memes. Apparently, if I want to get a lot of views, I need to react to people opening Labubus. A Labubu is like a doll thing in a grab bag, kind of like a troll. Like trolls were cool in the 90s. All right, thanks for that request. I'd never heard of that artist. I'd never heard that song before. I enjoyed listening to the artist, the band, and the song, and learning a little bit about the Canadian country indie pop genre. So thank you very much, and I'll see you at the next reaction video. Bye-bye.